Welcome Cancer to your in-depth monthly horoscope for September 2024 for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. I'm going to share some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. Then on screen, your event chart right at the start of the month, which always provides some very valuable information. And then as the month unfolds, I'll give you all the key dates and influences particularly relevant to your sign. The big takeout at the start of the month is Mars making its way into your sign on the 4th. You may have ended August feeling somewhat apathetic. You may even start this month feeling underpowered too. But Mars arriving into your sign is really going to give you quite a spark. It's going to give you a lot of extra traction. We also have a new moon, and of course your sign is ruled by the moon on the 3rd. That's going to give you a platform to express yourself with more clarity. But we do have the first of a new eclipse series on the 18th in the sign of Pisces, your sister water sign. Now, since 2012, you've had a glorious opportunity to widen your horizons. You may have travelled, you may have learnt a lot about spirituality, you may have connected in some kind of higher form to a more ethereal part of life and yourself. And all that comes sharply into focus because that eclipse is also very close to Neptune, which is behind that energy. So I need to unpack that for you. But also on the 22nd, we have the autumnal equinox. The sun makes its way into Libra. And for you, this is redolent of the energy of your sign. So you want to find balance, but balance around your home, emotional and family life. Venus, however, does move late in the month into a very glamorous sector, but Mercury replaces her on the 26th. So as the month comes to a close, something around the way you connect to people very close to you or your deep emotional feelings is really going to come to the fore. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. If you're new to my channel, it's lovely to have your company. If you're a returning visitor, as ever, you're truly appreciated. If you'd like to have a one-to-one with me, please check out my testimonials below. I am a consultant astrologer, and you can read what other people have said after working with me. If you'd like to take advantage of my unique year 2025 personal horoscope forecast offer, you can order yours now, but get the rest of this year free. But also 30% off and your life roadmap report. This gives you searing insights into the patterns that have played out in your life so far and a much more intimate knowledge of how to work with these energies future forwards. Please see the link below for more. So on the screen now, we have your event chart right at the start of the month. Now, it's always important in astrology to be conscious of the planet which is closest to one of the angles. And your 10th house angle, how you connect to the wider world, has Neptune cresting very close to it on your 9th house. But as I mentioned in my introduction, it is squaring with Mars, and that has perhaps created some low vitality. And particularly with Mars going through your 12th house over the last 6 weeks, all of this may have come up to the boil as you come into the start of this month. So if you have lacked a little bit of decisiveness or drive, it wouldn't be a complete surprise. But look at where Venus is right at the bottom of your chart. That's in your 4th house. And that's urging you to get the part of your existence that's very much to do with comfort and your immediate environment as refined as possible. So if you are someone who's quite artistic or good with colours, the combination of Neptune and Venus can be excellent for you. It's just that Mars is T-squaring both of them. So that's where that slight underpowered energy can really show itself as we enter this month. But also on the first day, Pluto, the planet of power, of transformation and of consequences, continues its retrograde by returning to the sign of Capricorn, which it left on the 21st of January. If you recall, we had 11 weeks of Pluto in Aquarius last year, but since the 21st of January this year. But for you, the 7th house is your interaction with others. And this can be, therefore, very much to do with relationships. If you have experienced some powerful interactions over the years since 2008, as Pluto made its way through your sector of relationships, you may have seen some key ties dissolve, make way, cords be cut, or new players come in who've been really significant. But there can be a bit more of this politics through to the 19th of November. But despite this, Pluto actually forges a terrific link with Venus at the start of this month. So if you are trying to renovate or upgrade a property or transact a property sale or purchase or rental, that can still be very good for you. But the new moon of the 3rd, it's all about how you interact on an everyday basis. But it's a sparkling energy and it's an opportunity to showcase the imaginative ideas you have. If you are someone who does feel that your life is somewhat dominated by technology, one of the ways you can work with this new moon is to declutter your devices. So if there's lots of old data, get rid, free up space, free up energy. But you can do that in your immediate environs too. So that could mean getting some things, some possessions that you've held on to. Could be books, to be honest. And that extra space will help the energy to flow through. But by the 4th, that's the big moment of the month. Because Mars is really impacted by Neptune at the start of this month. So if you have lacked quite the amount of drive that you've wanted, or you have felt a little unwell in the previous 5 or 6 weeks, it wouldn't be a complete surprise, but it's like a furnace being applied to your ambitions. It's time to be much more individualistic in your approach. But also on the 9th, Mercury makes its way back into the sign of Virgo, which it rules. So of course this is seeing it come forwards again after its retrograde. But just be conscious the Sun is challenged by Saturn at this part of the month. So however much you want to do things quickly and dexterously, very 3rd house, somehow or another Saturn can hold you to account. So if you say something, you could be surprised that someone could challenge you about your point of view, or maybe feel that you're not being appropriate even in the way you're expressing yourself. So that can feel a little bit limiting and frustrating. But by the 11th, Mercury ends its post-retrograde shadow, which is a good thing. And through the 3rd week of this month, we do have that very important lunar eclipse, but we also have the Sun forging a sparkling alliance to Uranus. And Uranus has been pushing you since 2019, since March, full time, to be more experimental about the people you hang out with, about the ideals that inspire you. And because it's in your sector of your future progress, and Uranus is about getting in touch with the highest part of our nature, the most authentic part of our nature, maybe there's a conversation you're going to have which could be a revelation, but also it's acting upon it. And the lunar eclipse, with the rather drifting, dreamy energies of Neptune running through it, means that you can't be too idealistic about whatever you're planning. So the Sun in Virgo is asking you throughout this month really to make sure you crunch the numbers, dissect the ideas, very Virgo, and make sure whatever you plan to do has some kind of tangible benefit. But then on the 22nd we have the autumnal equinox. Now just before this happens, the Sun in Virgo forges a perfect alliance with Venus, but it's still in touch with it as the Sun makes its way into Libra. This is the 3rd cardinal quadrant of the year. Western tropical astrology divided by 4 slots of 13 weeks. So for you over the next 3 months, where you live, how you live there, and who with is going to be an important theme. But it doesn't mean to say you can't transform those parts of your life, because you most certainly can. However, there's a beautiful and glamorous change on the 23rd when Venus makes its way into your sister water sign of Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio can be dramatic, possessive, intense, but it can also be hugely loyal. If there is someone you're drawn to, where you feel the emotional dynamic works as well as fancying them, you're on to a good thing. But the 26th sees Mercury replace Venus in the sign of Libra. Again, balance is the key, but it's also asking you to exchange ideas and perhaps not be defensive if people see things differently, because the Cazimi, which brings the cosmic curtain down on the month, this is when the Sun and Mercury align in a beautiful way, amplifying the energy of Mercury. That Cazimi is asking you to think, but also stay in touch with how you feel. And that, in the process of doing that, try to get some kind of balance into your situation. So this is a month which does have some huge opportunities to be more assertive with Mars moving into your sign. But if you are sharing ideas, you may find that not everybody will necessarily accept them at face value. And certainly when it comes to relationships, if there was something quite powerful or painful that happened since 2008, there may be a reminder of that event through to the 19th of November. But as the month comes to a close, that part of you that loves to be reflective, quiet, find a place, a little nook where you can be more nurturing, healing, perhaps do some meditation or get into nature, really calls out to you. Have a great month, Cancer. Take care and goodbye.